So in this video, I'm going to be going over the 5 core email flows that you need to implement first before you focus on anything else. So if you are a SaaS company, you're looking to improve your email marketing, optimize your email marketing, improve results from your email marketing, then the first thing that you should be focusing on is implementing these 5 core flows. And then and only then should you be focusing on other flows, implementing multiple campaigns, different specific automations. But this is really the core of what your email marketing is based around. So if you are looking to improve your email marketing, and feel free to stick around and see how this could potentially be helpful to you. So the first flow I'm going to go over is the core flow. It's the welcome flow. The welcome flow is triggered when people sign up to your free trial, and it has 2 core uses and 2 core goals. The first one is to activate users and get them to the aha moment. And the second thing is, after the users have reached the aha moment, to then convert them onto your paid plan. Super simple, and that's just the goal of the welcome flow. But the way we set this up is in a stepped format. So as you can see, and obviously just as a disclaimer, it is going to be specific to different SaaS companies. They have different models. It's not really a one-size-fits-all approach, but I'm going to try my best to cover all the different ways that you can implement this so you can find the one that works best for your SaaS. But the way you want to go ahead about this, and you want to go about this, is the first step is to identifying the aha moment. So that's simply the point at which, if someone reaches this point, the chances of them converting onto the paid plan from the free trial increases. And just to give you a super simple way of identifying when this is, go through all of your recent free trial users, the past 100, 200, 500,000 free trial users, and look at the people who actually converted onto your paid plan. And once you kind of see this data of, okay, so these are the amount of free trial users, these are the people who converted onto the paid plan, go through the actions of the people who converted onto the paid plan, and you'll find similarities between those actions. So maybe they all took the same sequence of actions. Maybe they all got activated within a certain time period. Maybe they all reached out to customer support. And basically you want to identify similarities between the people that actually go ahead and convert onto the paid plan, right? And then once you find the similarities, you can find kind of one core point or one core, what you feel is the aha moment that you want all free trial users to get to. And if all free trial users got to that point, then maybe 40-50% would convert onto your paid plan. So the goal is obviously to get them onto the aha moment, but obviously not everyone is going to get to that point. So the more people you can get to that point, the more people will convert onto the paid plan. So that's what we're going to base this flow around. Once you have that process identified, or that moment identified, we want to break down the process to reaching the aha moment. So maybe it's 2 steps, 3 steps, maybe it's just 1 step or 5 steps for you. But obviously that depends. But in this example, I've set up 3 steps. So let's say it takes 3 specific actions from the user to reach the aha moment. What we want to do here is have a specific email sequence for each of these actions. So the user signs up, they get a welcome, and we straight away push them towards performing the first action. Then they go through this sequence of emails. And as you can see, as soon as they perform the first action, they instantly get pushed onto the email sequence for the second action. As you can see, if they perform it during email 1, they'll get pushed straight away, and they won't get email 2, 3, and 4. If they don't perform it during email 1, they'll get 2, and if they don't perform it during email 2, they'll get 3. If they then perform the action during email 3, they'll get pushed through. So hopefully you can see the logical way that this is set up. Then we have obviously the email sequence for action 2, and then it works in the exact same way here, and the sequence and the logic for action 3. So the guide here is essentially to hold the hand of the user and guide them through performing the first, second, and third action that you need them to reaching the aha moment. And we don't want to confuse them, right? So this is why we've set it up in a certain way where they're not going to be receiving the emails telling them to take action 2 unless they've already gone ahead and taken action 1. Because you don't want to confuse them. You want to remove all certainty, remove all friction, and have one core goal. And once they go through, take these 3 actions, then we can have a harder sell sequence or upgrade sequence where we actually use the response copy to then convert them onto the paid plan. But the first step is reaching the aha moment. So step 1, get them to reach the aha moment. Step 2, convert them onto the paid plan. Hopefully that simplifies it a bit for you. Then we have the onboarding flows. So depending on how many plans you have, each onboarding flow needs to be specific to your plan. And the goal of the onboarding flow is threefold actually. So the first one is to activate the user as quickly as possible and get them to perform approximately 3 core actions. For most of the SaaS companies we work with, comes to around about 3 actions, but it can be less, it can be more. Introduce them to the extent of the features they have access to. So not just 1 or 2, but every single feature they have access to, and make sure that they have the help they need, to have the knowledge they need to take advantage of all of those features to get the best results possible. And then third thing is get them excited to use your SaaS and future pace the results for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months along the line. So already putting the seed in their mind that they are going to be using your SaaS for 6 months, a year, and longer, and planting the seed for retention essentially. So in this flow, those are the main goals that we have, and the way we set this up is extremely simple. We have a specific onboarding flow separated for each of the plans that you have. Like I mentioned, it could be 2, 3, 4, depending on how many plans you have. Multiple SaaS companies just have one. But what we want to do here is specifically look at these goals and see how can we achieve them for the different plans, because someone who purchases your cheapest plan is probably not going to be the same type of customer avatar or ideal customer profile, ICP, as someone who purchased the most expensive. So you can identify, okay, so this flow is purchased by this customer avatar. How can we get them to perform these 3 actions? And I can't give a framework that works every single time, because the main things you should be focusing on are the goals themselves, and the way you achieve those goals differs. For example, sometimes we make the onboarding flow, 9, 10 emails long. For SaaSes which have multiple features, they really need to get a grasp of all of them. Whereas if it's a lot simpler, it can just be 3 to 4 emails long and get the same exact outcome there. So you've got to make sure that focusing on the goals I mentioned, making sure that it's specified to the customer avatar for each plan. Make sure you have a specific onboarding flow separate for each plan, and make sure you're hitting those goals and you'll be good to go. Then we have the no login flow, the third one here. And the goal of the no login flow here, I'll come back to the cancellation one in a second. But the goal of the no login flow is that it's sent to users who don't log in for X amount of days. So this could be 14 days, 30 days, 60 days. It really just depends on your SaaS specifically. But with not logging in being one of the biggest indicators of churn, we just have one goal with this flow, and that's to reactivate the user as soon as possible, get them to log into your SaaS again, and get them to start using your SaaS again. That's simply the only goal here. As you can see, they're all specifically connected to each of the plans. So we actually normally set up separate no login flows for each of the plans, just because the reason someone doesn't log in for each of the plans is going to be different, and we obviously want to have a hyper-targeted, extremely specific email copy and email flows. So we do normally have a separate no login flow for each of the plans. The way we set up the no login flow is, I can kind of give a brief structure that we do follow. Initially, we just want to simply remind them of the results they've been getting. So obviously this depends on how long they've been using your SaaS, if they've actually been using their credits, their features effectively. But if they have, we really do want to take advantage of that and remind them of the results they've been getting. And throughout the flow, we pretty much just want to slightly increase the problem and amplify the problem to a point where maybe in email 4 or 5, we call out that they're probably actually experiencing the same problems they were before they even started using our SaaS platform. And we really just want to try and do everything we can to try and reactivate them, get them back into the SaaS, using the core features, getting the core benefits, and kind of minimizing churn effectively. We do have the cancellation flow next. So this is simply sent to users who cancel their plan. And we kind of have 2 goals here, which I'll go over right now. So coming back to the cancellation flow, we have 2 objectives. The first one is that we want to try and do everything that we can to get them to stay. So directly addressing the reason that they churned, offering free help, offering an incentive for staying. We want to do everything we can to try and prevent the churn, since the chances are that it's incredibly difficult to acquire customers and getting recurring customers for your SaaS. So we do want to, of course, do everything we can to prevent the churn, but obviously there will be moments where we can't recover the customer. A lot of the times they will go ahead and churn, but if they do churn, we do want to get some qualitative feedback and quantitative feedback on why they left, and then use this information to bolster messaging and marketing. So what I mean by that is when someone does churn, they have to fill out a mandatory survey or just a quick 2-minute form giving the reason of why they actually churned. Is it because they're giving up on kind of what your SaaS is offering? Are they switching to a different competitor? Is the price too high for them? And basically based off of the core reasons we get for people churning, we'll use that data and we'll preemptively identify and handle that objection during the onboarding flow and other flows like gamification, no login flows, before they even have a chance of churning. So pretty much I want to, first of all, implement the survey like I mentioned. Second of all, look at the survey data. What's the most common reason someone's churning? Third thing, where can we then handle this objection before they actually end up churning? So in essence, we're going to increase retention by doing that. So that's kind of the process we follow. It might sound a bit complicated, but just kind of break it down, follow that process step by step, implement everything first, look at the data, and then you can make decisions from there rather than just trying to guess the reasons people are churning, because that's the worst thing you want to do, is guess and make decisions based off just guesses instead of the data you actually have. And finally, we do have the payment decline flow. So This is simply a non-negotiable logistical type flow that when someone's card declines, whether that's because they don't have enough money in their bank or their bank declined the transaction, we need a payment decline flow in place, 100% guaranteed. And the goal here is simple. The first thing is that we want to let them know their payment has failed and they need to update their payment details, super simple. And if they continuously fail to update their payment details, we're going to let them know that they will lose access to their account if they don't update their payment details, their progress will be gone, their data will be gone as well. Just trying to increase the problem here because sometimes people simply just forget that they need to update their details. 1 or 2 emails get lost in the inbox and we just do need to just keep following up again and again till that update is made. But most of the time they fix this straight away because most customers obviously don't want to lose the data they have with your with your platform, sorry. So just to go over them quickly, you have the welcome flow, we have the onboarding flows, the no login flows, the cancellation flow, and the payment decline flow. And if you are starting out, make sure to implement these core flows first before you focus on anything else. And I guarantee your results will be a lot better this way.